Hey y'all, welcome back to Homemade Simple. I'm so glad that you're here today. If we have not met, I'm Lori. I am a homemaker, a wife, and a mom, and I love to share simple tips and tricks to help you on your homemaking journey. I am sure that when you go to the grocery store, you have noticed that the prices have really started to increase a lot, and it is happening really quickly. So today's video is centered all around trying to put nourishing food on the table at the lowest cost possible. Something that I thought might help me is if I incorporated eggs into our weekly menu. And I wanted to see if I could make nourishing meals for the family using a half dozen eggs and maybe about $5. We have a family of 6. It just sort of quickly and easily broke down that way, half a dozen eggs every meal. I was able to accomplish that goal, and I thought I would share those recipes with you today. So if you have 2 dozen eggs and you have $20, then you have all that you need to make these 4 simple, homemade, nutritious recipes for your family. So let's get to the recipes. First up is the easy breakfast casserole, which is very accurately named because it is super simple, quick, and easy to throw together. I got started by browning 1 pound of pork sausage. I used the breakfast style. You can use any kind that you like. You can also use bacon or ham in this recipe. Next up, while the sausage is browning, I grated some cheese right into my 9x13 pan. I love this KitchenAid attachment. It is super quick and easy just to pull out of the cabinet and shred any kind of block of cheese. And if you shred your own cheese, it's going to melt a lot easier in any kind of recipe. So that's definitely worth your time. Next, I took my 6 eggs and broke them into a bowl. I add salt and pepper and about a 1/4 cup of milk and scramble that together. And by this time, the sausage is ready to be drained. So I drain the sausage using my colander, and then when I get all of the fat drained off of the sausage, I go ahead and sprinkle the sausage on top of the cheese. Then I pour the egg on top of the casserole and put it in the oven at 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes. And that's it. Done in about 30 minutes and costing less than $5. It is a family-friendly meal that everybody enjoys. Next up is the Veggie Egg Scramble. Now this might not be the most beautiful dish in the world, but it is definitely nutritious and filling. For this dish, I got a pack of 3 multicolored bell peppers. I got started dicing the 3 bell peppers. I've started an iron skillet on the stove with about a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and it is heating while I'm dicing the peppers. When the oil gets hot, I pour the bell peppers into the skillet and keep them stirred so that they do not burn or stick. They will cook down pretty quickly. And while the bell peppers are cooking, it's time to dice up the tomatoes. For this recipe, I got small cherry tomatoes on the vine, but any tomato cut up or diced will work for this recipe. So just whatever is most convenient or most affordable for you, that will work just fine. While the bell peppers are cooking down a little longer, I've got plenty of time to prepare the egg mixture for the dish as well. So I break the eggs into a bowl and scramble them until they're well beaten. After about 6 or 7 minutes, the bell peppers should be cooked down a good bit, and so it's time to add the tomatoes. And then I take a package of spinach and I add the entire container to the peppers and tomatoes. This was about a 6-ounce container of spinach, and you can see that it cooks down so much. You really cannot put too much spinach in this recipe. So when it cooks down a little, if you would like to have more spinach, you can always add more. After the liquid has cooked out a good bit, it's time to add the eggs, scramble them in, top with about 4 ounces of cheese, and it's time to serve. This is not the most beautiful recipe I've ever made, but it is one of my favorites, and it is very filling. I always like it when I can add this many vegetables to one dish, so it feels like a total mom win. Next up is the bacon and egg hash. This is a really simple recipe using potatoes, bacon, and eggs. I also added a bell pepper to this recipe as well. So for our family of 6, I started with 10 medium-sized potatoes and diced them. After I diced them all, I rinsed them and then added them to an iron skillet with a 1/4 cup olive oil. I diced up the bacon and cooked it in a separate pan. I started too late to cook this in the same iron skillet, but if you are a better time manager than me, you can cook the bacon and then cook the potatoes in the same pan as the bacon. You can be creative with the seasonings that you add to this dish. I chose to add salt and pepper, rosemary leaves, and Italian seasoning. After the potatoes had cooked for about 10 minutes, I added the bell pepper so it could cook in with the potatoes and flavor them. When the bacon finished cooking, I drained it and put it over into the potatoes and cooked the potatoes probably about 5 minutes more until they were soft. When the potatoes were done, I made 6 little indentions in the dish with my spoon, and this is going to be the place where we break the eggs and put them on top of the potatoes. So after I made the 6 indentions, I cracked an egg in each one of those holes. Try to be careful not to break the yolk, but sometimes that just happens. It still cooks up just fine. It's just a little bit better if you can keep the yolk in one piece. I put it in the oven at 450 for about 5 minutes, and then I turned on the broiler for about 3 to 5 minutes more. This is a quick and hearty meal that the whole family will enjoy. Last but certainly not least is a childhood favorite of mine, egg in a basket. This one has lots of different names, but this is what my mom used to call it when she made this recipe for me when I was little, so that's what we'll go with today. I started with a fresh loaf of sourdough bread. Any kind of bread will work for this recipe, but a more firm bread is usually going to work better. I spread coconut oil on both sides of each piece of bread. You can also use butter for this step. Now it's time to cut the hole. Using just a butter knife, I cut a square hole into the center of each slice of bread. Just set the squares aside for now. You will cook them on the griddle with the rest of the bread so they can be toasted. While I cut the squares, the griddle is heating with about a 1/4 cup of coconut oil spread around to make it nonstick. I place all of the bread pieces onto the griddle and then break 1 egg into each of the holes. Cook them on one side for probably 2 minutes, maybe longer, and then sprinkle with salt and flip. You can leave them cooking on the other side for about the same amount of time. Sprinkle that side with salt, and then you're all done. This is a super simple but tasty recipe that costs only the price of a loaf of bread and half a dozen eggs. Well, there they are, 4 recipes, 2 dozen eggs, and $20. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you will try out these recipes for your family, and you will leave a comment down below about which one you think your family will like the best. If you have any money-saving tips about making our grocery dollars stretch farther, I hope that you will share those in the comments below as well. I really am so thankful for your support. If you are new and you have not subscribed to the channel, I hope that you will go and do that now. You can also click the bell icon right beside the subscribe button, and that will notify you when new videos are added to the channel. I try to add new videos every Friday, so I hope that you will come back every week and see what new thing we have to share. Thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful week.